Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk horror. And today I'm here to talk to you about some movies that all take place somewhere we really probably don't want to be in, and that is the morgue.
It's coffee time.
So honestly, I have found some horror movies that take place in the morgue quite horrifying, and I think it's also because we know what takes place in morgues. And I thought, why not make a list of some movies that take place in a morgue? Now, these movies are not all the greatest movies of all times, but it's just a list that I have put together of some movies that take place partially or completely inside of a morgue. Mortuaries are places where bodies are taken before they are being buried or cremated, so obviously it's not exactly the place where we would like to hang out. It is, however, a great place to set a horror movie or a horror book in, and it offers a lot of possibilities to creep out people, not just with the supernatural, but also with different shots of the place, the coldness of it all. And we also tend to get kind of squeamish or uncomfortable around dead bodies that are just lying there on a cold table. It's something that works really well for me whenever there are morgue scenes in a movie or a movie based on a morgue. I feel like the creepiness for me is automatically elevated. So I came up with a list of some movies and I'm here to talk to you about them. So let's jump to the list. Night Watch, 1997. An American horror thriller film directed by Ol Bornedal and starring Ewan McGregor, Patricia Arquette, and Josh Brolin. It is a remake of the 1994 Danish film of the same name, which was also directed by Bornedal. A law student works as a night watchman at a morgue. The morgue harbors a dark secret, and he must now find the truth before he gets implicated in a series of murders. Even though this film might not have the strongest story, it's a visually effective and often scary film to watch. A dark thriller with a horror atmosphere and a killer to catch. Anatomy, 2000. This is a German horror film that stars Franka Potente. The film became the highest-grossing German-language movie in 2000. Paula, a medical student, wins a place in a summer course at a renowned hospital. During her stint at the hospital, she discovers a secret society that performs gruesome experiments on humans. What makes this movie work extraordinarily well is the director's style and his willingness to go way out on a limb and challenge taboos. There is a well-told story, it is directed with great suspense, and they are not scared to dive deep into the horror. Dark Places. A drug-addicted prostitute, Carrie has seen the darkest side of life, until her life takes a turn for the worse. During one more in a long line of illicit sex for money transactions, Carrie must defend herself and inadvertently kills her attacker. This movie is a bit of a fever dream and the journey through one woman's personal purgatory. Even though this is a true underground horror, we get decent acting, some bizarre scenes that are quite intense and deprived. Mortuary, an American zombie horror film directed by Tobe Hooper that follows a family that moves into a new town out in the countryside and they take over an abandoned funeral home. However, the building is rumored to be haunted. Mortuary is a horror film with an atmosphere of mystery, some gore scenes, and zombies. The story is bizarre and it does rely on many horror tropes. The first half of the film is atmospheric and well developed. The old neglected house surrounded by the graveyard works in the movie's favor. The Morgue. This was a direct-to-DVD horror film. Many of us watched it because it stars Heather Donahue, best known for her role in the 1999 film The Blair Witch Project. The protagonist, Margot Day, is paying her way through college by working part-time in a morgue. Her only living companion in the long nights at the morgue is George, the night watchman, who is stricken with grief from the loss of his daughter. As the story unfolds, more characters, including Jill, a frightened young girl, are introduced. Even though the story is predictable, this little indie film was well shot and the cinematography was also interesting since this was shot actually in a mausoleum that looks like a maze. Afterlife, an American psychological horror thriller film that stars Liam Neeson, Christina Ricci, and Justin Long. Anna is stunned when she sees her own body being prepared for funeral by Undertaker Elliot. Caught between the transition process of death and afterlife, she tries to find her way back into life. Cleverly written with no wasted dialogue, The actors do an excellent job with their roles and are quite believable and compelling. It's an interesting story that draws you in step by step and does not disappoint. The Body, a Spanish mystery thriller film directed by Oriol Paulo. When the guard of a morgue working in the night shift runs away from his duty, he meets with an accident. Meanwhile, the body of a wealthy businesswoman goes missing from the mortuary. A moody and stylish horror thriller where nothing is what it seems. For the most part, it is a compelling mystery to solve and it keeps you on your toes. Always evolving, and just when you think you've got it all figured out, they throw you through the loop again. The Body is a good film with very strong performances that maintains a strong tension thanks to a good, strong, simple idea. The Lazarus Effect, a science fantasy horror film about the dangers of playing Dr. Frankenstein. Scientists Frank and Zoe develop a serum that can bring dead patients back to life. However, when Zoe dies in an accident, a desperate Frank uses the serum on her and unleashes something dangerous. Even though the film does not have the strongest plot, it has good performances, a nice build-up, and a cheap tension. There is a bit less horror in this one than in the other ones from the list, but it does catch up towards the end. The Autopsy of Jane Doe, a supernatural horror film directed by Andre Overdahl. Two coroners start an autopsy of an unidentified girl to investigate the cause of her death. However, as they get closer to finding answers, bizarre events take place. This restrained horror piece, kept in a claustrophobic environment, excels at keeping the tension and offering some good jump scares. Where this film really succeeds is in doing something a lot of modern horror has forgotten about. It toys with the viewer's imagination, creating an uneasy feeling out of the narrative, half light, sound, and shadow. The Autopsy of Jane Doe is basically a great haunted house movie. The house just happens to be the morgue. I Am Not a Serial Killer. This is a supernatural psychological horror film directed by Billy O'Brien and based on Dan Wells' 2009 novel of the same name. When people in his town are murdered, John, a troubled teen struggling with homicidal tendencies, must find the killer and stop him while keeping his inner demons at bay. The film is bloody but not overly scary, and the story is captivating and suspenseful, making it an enjoyable, entertaining film. A different take of a psycho thriller that thinks outside of the box and also invites the viewer to step out of their comfort zone. The Possession of Hannah Grace, also known in some countries as Cadaver, is an American supernatural horror thriller film. A shocking exorcism spiraled out of control, claiming the life of a young woman. Months later, morgue worker Megan takes delivery of a disfigured cadaver during the graveyard shift. Locked inside the basement corridors, Megan's terrifying visions soon lead her to believe that the body is possessed by a demonic force. The film mostly takes place in the middle of the night at a hospital, which helps with the gloomy atmosphere. With a very limited cast, they did a good job and the practical effects were as well greatly achieved. It offers a simple story in a creepy setting. The Mortuary Collection is an anthology horror film written and directed by Ryan Spindell. Desperate for work, a young drifter applies for a job at the local mortuary on the outskirts of town. There, she meets Montgomery Dark, an eccentric mortician with more than a few skeletons in his closet. Montgomery chronicles the strange history of the town through a series of twisted tales, each more terrifying than the last. This anthology is clever, inventive, and consistently amusing. There's action, genuinely unexpected twists, buckets of blood and guts, and a sharp, wicked sense of humor running beneath it all. Play Dead, an American horror thriller film directed by Patrick Lussier. Chloe, a young medical student, and her brother TJ are being drowned by bills, their money is gone, and they are about to lose their home. After TJ does something stupid, Chloe fakes her own death, breaks into the morgue, and discovers that the coroner is involved in a twisted business. This is a tense and almost black comedy thriller that keeps the tension up. You can tell the director was clearly working within a fairly constrained budget, but Play Dead never feels cheap. It is well written and it has a lot of interesting twists. The Offering, an American horror thriller film directed by Oliver Park, based on the Jewish folk tale of Abitzu. In the wake of a young Jewish girl's disappearance, the son of a Hasidic funeral director returns home with his pregnant wife in hopes of reconciling with his father. Little do they know that directly beneath them in the family morgue, an ancient evil with sinister plans for the unborn child lurks inside a mysterious corpse. What makes this such a satisfying horror film is its cultural background. The film combines genuine human drama and an exploration of a mysterious sacred text. The film has all the necessary genre elements and delivers a quick and creepy story, merging the struggles of a family with possession and evil spirits. So this was my list of horror movies that take place in the morgue. Let me know down below if you enjoyed it, if you enjoy this type of movies, or if maybe they are a little bit too intense for you, because I know the morgue is not exactly a happy place. Also, if you know of any other horror movies that take place in the morgue and I did not mention it in this list, let me know down below so that I can check it out. Thank you guys as always so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support, and I hope to see you all as always in our next coffee time. Bye!